doesn't seem to affect anything.
Okay. All right, let me get out of my apparently old version of Unity. Let's see. What's the best way to start here? Okay, I guess we'll start back in Blender again. And for Unity, I'll fire up our scene that I've been working on. Oh, right, we'd already gone and taken a texture from online, hadn't we? Yeah, we were. Okay, so we're really in good shape. So what I want to do today is to basically show you some of the other ways that textures are used, often to pretty amazing effect in current generation games and simulation products. I mean, actually, so one of the things about Unity is, one of the things about the whole field of computer graphics is it's still very rapidly evolving. I think I mentioned maybe on the first day that there was there's a new model for rendering that's supposed to make Unity a little more competitive with like Unreal Engine and some of the more top flight engines, and that uses a yet even more realistic way of doing the rendering, but it comes with a price. That it's harder to use and it's new, so there'll be a lot more fun error messages to deal with if you start dealing with something that new. So this is already bloody cutting edge enough, I think, for us. So let me just, okay, so that's my scene. There's my object that I imported. Okay, let's see, in Blender, why is Blender not, Blender's just not happy. Let me start it again. Thinking. All right, that's better. Let's see, open recent. There's my wood box. Right, okay. All right. Now, the steps we went through yesterday, you would still always go through them, even if you're shooting for a better 3D look. But there, it just becomes the beginning. The reason you always want to go through to deal with your unwrapping explicitly, even if you make the decision that I don't care about seams. I mean, do you really care about seams on the edge of this box? That's up to you to say. I mean, wooden boards actually don't wrap around the corners of of a structure, so you could look at that and argue, I want a seam there because that's the nature of wooden construction. Other things, if it's cloth that's draped over, right, that's an edge on a person. Or if it's a boulder instead of something that's built out of boards, there shouldn't probably be a hard seam at the top, and you would be well advised to consider doing your unwrapping. And and you're going to get seams. It's just that you won't have them just everywhere, and you'll be able to control where they fall. All right, now, okay, so. Let me actually go back and let me go back to that material demo that we had up the other day. I'm going to open that as well, just to talk about what we were trying to get to, because I think it'll help you follow a little better. The intermediate steps, it's pretty easy, but still good to motivate what we're trying to get to. So let's go in here. Hopefully it comes up quick enough. So we'll kind of be working backwards. So we'll show something that actually looks like something in Unity. Let's take a look at why it looks the way it does, and then we will talk about how you get there. Very much working backwards. My other Unity scene. It's still thinking. Laptop's about 4 years old. It's really seen better days. Needs a little more RAM than it has, right? So there we go. Right, there's the difference between the two. So let's check it out. You know, you look at this box on the left here. Let me actually do it in the scene window where I can control things better. If I can select this box, you see here's the material down here, single texture matte. Let's look down. Okay, it's a material that looks, you know, it's a lot to digest, but actually there's nothing been done here except what we have already done. Okay, it's just the material with all default settings in it, except I've gone in and clicked here and I select the texture that was brought in, the single texture. That's it. Okay, how's the other one different? All right, well, let's see. Okay, we got this guy, multi-texture matte. Okay, all right, what do we see here? Okay, here we see our old friend, the original texture is there, but there's also some other stuff. There is a metallic texture. Probably that's a little bit ill-considered. I probably should have. We'll talk about that a little later. So there's a normal map texture. Looks like there's even a height map in there. I don't usually like height maps. I think that's maybe a little bit ill-advised to have a height map in there, but let's talk about it. You be the judge. Maybe you'll find good applications for it. I'll tell you why I don't like it. And there's also an occlusion texture. Okay, what the heck are all these things? Okay, now the metallic texture, let's just talk about the concepts. If you look at it in GIMP, or you just click on it on your Windows /Mac and it pops up a window, it just looks like a normal texture. It is black and white, as you can even tell in that tiny version there. But the meaning of the information is what's important. So where that texture is white, it does not mean that the object is white. What it means is it's more metallic in that location. Okay? It may be a very dark color there. The color is going to come from this map after all. Okay? So this just says, hey, regardless of the color, just independent of that, is it going to be metallically shiny in this location, or is it going to be kind of matte in that location? That it would be more dark. That's what that thing is about. Okay? So the when the image is actually rendered, those things are factored together to give you its look. Now, there is a lever here, there's a slider here that controls the effect, right? So where it says it's more metallic, what does that mean, right? I think this slider just lets you kind of dial the whole thing up or back. You know, if I go way down here, it becomes very matte, and if I go way to the right, it probably, look at that, it gets kind of ridiculous. You know, very glossy and metally looking. Okay, I actually prefer less of that. And I want to say that this already is a new kind of an approach. So if you're reading stuff online, I'm not even sure if any other engine other than Unity has a notion of a metallic texture. There is a traditional notion of that's related, which is to have a specular texture. Specular just means shiny. Doesn't mean specifically metallic, just means shiny. I think the difference is with metallic, you expect not just shininess, but maybe also some reflectivity. Maybe that's the difference. In Unity, you do have an option of using either the traditional model with specularity or the new model with metallic. It kind of channels you down the metallic path because that's kind of the special Unity thing. That's what they prefer that you use. But there is an easy way to switch, and let me see if I can find it here. Okay, it's just the second option right here. If I do standard specular setup, what'll it do? Okay, you see it dropped my metallic texture, right? But I can easily plug it right back in here. Go back to, here it is. That's the metallic thing. Okay, now this is the traditional specularity setting. Now I don't know, I don't have the best eye in the world, so you guys. It's a drop down from the thing at the very top, the shader, and you see it's
Do you see how many options there are for shaders, right? This would be a lot if these were just shaders, but they're not. They're just submenus full of yet other shaders, okay? And plus, I think you guys all know at this point, there's a whole shading language. So the idea is not even that you might have all these and it's still not enough for you. You need to go and actually cut some code if you have a very specific application in mind. All right, so that's your metallic / specular setting. I mean, in this particular thing, I really don't notice all that much difference. When I pull specular way to the right, looks very similar to me. All right, next point, normal map. What the heck is that? A normal map, if you open it up in a normal image window, really looks weird. It tends to be blue, shades of blue and red, okay, with a little bit of maybe gray in between, okay? And what it actually is doing, I think what it's doing is, I think the reason it looks that way is because it's not using our red, blue, green channel, right? It's not using the green channel at all, okay? Now what's the idea of a normal map? Well, you guys know what a surface normal is? So if I've got a surface, here's the surface, the hand's surface. What's the surface normal? Okay, it's a vector, points directly up. How long is the vector? Unit length. Okay, now it could just as well be pointing down, okay? All right, that's what the normal is. Oh, so what's this idea of a normal map? Well, I mean, there is a normal for this side of the cube. It is one vector. It points directly out at us from the cube, okay? But of course, if a surface is actually rough, as this one clearly is intended to be, the actual normal for the surface would not be one vector just directly out in the image. It would vary over the surface, okay? And that variation is really, you know, that's really, you see that a lot. That's most of the 3D-ness of that image there probably comes from that normal map, because that really fools your eye a lot. As the light plays over it, you know, things start getting brighter or dimmer depending on whether they're, you know, in a good position to reflect the light back to your eye, okay? And making this not be a single flat normal, but tweaking it around over the surface really helps the illusion a lot, okay? Now, again, it's very weird. If you just have a normal map, again, the surface is still going to be literally flat. It's just going to reflect light as if it were pointing in some different direction, right? So in other words, if there is a ridge, like I think that's actually, these cracks here, they look a little bit like ridges to me. I think they're actually supposed to be depressions. So let's talk about depression. It's actually a depression, okay? Outside the depression, the normal would be actually much like the face of the cube pointing at me. But as you go down in the depression, right, the normal is going to point this way. It's going to come down to the bottom, again, point directly at me, and then it's going to come up on the side, pointing up in the other direction, and then back to the normal. That's what I'm talking about, okay? Now, that's a lot of information to capture how the normal is varying over the cube. However, could we do that? Well, we have textures. Right? Textures can carry a lot of information. It is a weird kind of perversion to use a texture to capture normal information, right? And there they go, rendering it up as color. It has nothing to do with color whatsoever. It's even further removed than the metallic map, okay? What they're actually doing there is, so a normal vector, a vector has 3 components to it, but if it's unit length, and I give you 2 of the components, you can infer the third, yes? The third is whatever it needs to be to make it unit length. All right? And that's why they just need 2 color channels there for the 2 components of the normal vector over the entire surface. That is what that is about. It is my single favorite trick of this bunch here. Now, height map is my, immediately coming after it, is my least favorite trick. This one you got to use with care. So height map is a similar idea. So it uses the texture to code to say, well, you know, it's not really a flat surface. It should be a little bumped out or recessed from the actual surface, from the actual geometry. And it actually does bump the rendering of that surface up or back. Now, I don't know. I'm going to turn height map the whole way up so you can see that. No, it really does do that. It actually moves the where the pixels appear in 3D space, and it's not always a good thing. And maybe, I don't know why it's not actually very easy to see. Let's try to rotate around to the side and see. Huh. Well, actually, I don't see it actually taking effect. Okay. Now, normally, what I'm used to is maybe they're a little smarter in their implementation. The thing I don't like about it is that, at least in other, like if you look at this, where do I normally look at it? I think maybe in an online tool I'm going to show you in a little bit. Okay. Normally, when you look at the side, you will actually see the pixels bump up or down. And they don't seem to actually be doing that, which might be a better thing. But in that case, it seems if they're not going to actually move the pixels, then that seems redundant with what the normal map is doing. So then it makes me wonder why we're bothering in the first place. Yeah, kind of odd. I mean, I'm just trying to look at a really oblique angle. I'm trying to look down that side. Yeah, I don't see anything. All right. Let's see what happens if we get rid of the normal map. Actually, okay, I can just come here. The height map. Let me come here and just, let's see, can I just... Oh, it actually, look at that. It only goes up to a very, okay, it's not allowing the pixels to move very much. That's actually probably a really good call. Yeah, because what happens is, if the pixels actually move, for one thing, they become disconnected. If you look at it from the side, you see a pixel here, and then there'll be another one here, and then another one here. It really looks like a mess from the side. It might help the illusion of depth a little bit when you're looking straight on, but that disconnection totally spoils it for me. So that's what I can say about that. This, because they're only going up to 0.08, let's see, what if I type in here and try to make it do a lot more? Let's say, can I make it 1? Nope. It seems to be capped at a low value. Okay, that's probably smart. That's probably why it's tolerable. All right, but then you might just wonder if we just do just as well without it. So let's see. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. If I can grab this guy, Control D, duplicate him. Oh, yes, it will. Okay, well, let's grab this guy. Oh, but when I mess with the material, okay, I actually need to copy the material. Mud mats. Okay, so it's this thing. Let's copy that. All right, so I have single texture material 1. Let's put single texture material 1 on this new object. I just want to... I don't see. What am I doing? I'm copying the wrong one. Delete. Let's go with multi-texture material, Control D to copy it. Okay, now I have multi-texture mat 1. I'm going to put that on the copy of the object. Now I'm going to go break that. Just to let's see if we let's do a taste test. Let's see if we like it as well without the height map. You can go in here. I can say none for the height map. I should be able to say none if it'll let me. All right. So now I've got it with and without the height map right next to one another. Let's rotate this around. Let's center it. Actually, let's get it as big as we can. All right, what do we see? I don't see a lot of difference. Do you guys see difference? What if I rotate it? Let's see if maybe the beauty is when you rotate it. So let's assume that the beauty is when you rotate it. Ooh, actually, nah. Okay, maybe it looks the 3D effect. Maybe the indentations look a little deeper. What do you guys think? Do you see any difference between the two? It's not much. All right. Well, you be the judge. That's what that thing is about, okay? And you'll see it maybe a little better when in a tool I'm going to show you in a minute, okay? All right. Let me get out of here. All right. What's left? Occlusion. Okay, the occlusion map. That looks like a solid white thing, but it's really not. Let me see. Control and click to show preview pane. Yeah, yes please. There it is. Okay, there we go. All right, what's this about? Okay, So occlusion is short for ambient occlusion. Does that ring any bells? Okay. Right. You know the notion of an ambient light setting. So the idea of ambient light is, right, direct light is, you know, there's the light bulb and it's shining directly on me. It's bouncing off me to your eye. Ambient light is all the other light that's producing, right? The light that hits the wall and then hits me. I mean, I can crawl under the desk where I have no light directly on me, okay? And as in Blender, if there's no light directly on me, I would like disappear. I would be jet black underneath the desk. But of course, that's not realistic because there's ambient light. There's all kinds of light bouncing off stuff that will illuminate me. Okay. Now, old school computer graphics, there was just kind of a setting where you said, you know, even if there's no light, treat it as if there's yay amount of light. That's your ambient light setting. All right? They still do something similar, but now with ambient textures, you can discriminate between places. So let's say I'm under the desk. I'm cowering under the desk, but no direct light on me. It's all ambient light. But still, should I be lit uniformly? That's what the old model did. It would light me uniformly with the ambient light setting. Answer, no, you shouldn't, because there's still parts of you that are very hard to light. Like what? Well, like here, under my arms, like on the insides of my thighs, like, you know, various places. If I got a wrinkle in my clothing and then deep in the wrinkle, okay? There are these locations that ambient light really can't get to, and now with an ambient occlusion texture, we can say to the computer, hey, these places you should tone down the ambient light. Light can't easily get there. In this case, you see all these cracks? That's worth saying light can't get there. Okay, so that's what that's about. All right, so that's it. That's all the textures. Now, so hopefully you got enough theory that this the rest will make sense with you, and you can follow me along the rest. Okay. Now we just want to deal with the practical aspect. Where do they actually come from? Now again, worst case, you need an artist to do these things. And actually an artist these days might actually have modeled that wood as detailed 3D. He might have gone into a sculpture tool, and the gaps between the wood might be actual gaps where the wood comes down, and the little indentations in the wood might be actual indentations that he has sculpted in. Okay? And then they will use that and then some software help to figure out what the ambient occlusion map should be, what the normal map should be, all this kind of stuff. That is normal these days. You do a highly detailed model, that generates your normal map, displacement map, or height map means the same thing. Ambient occlusion, what else do we have? Not specularity. Specularity, an artist might do that one by hand.
So,
okay.
If we compare what we're talking about here, the textures, obviously, something flat, really flat.
Yep.
They're trying to make it look like it has texture.
Yeah.
We go to the survival shooter game, that appears that it's different objects that were made into an uneven floor.
Okay.
So I guess, I guess the second or the first part of that question is that true with the survival shooter? Right, like
probably. I can't remember what the floor looks like. Isn't it just like a plank floor? What do they have?
It is a plank floor. But
Okay.
it's not perfectly smooth.
Huh, interesting. Well, you have to remind me. Ask me that tomorrow when we're looking at it, and I'll take a look and tell you what I think. We can maybe actually authoritatively tell by, monkeying around a little bit in Unity.
But based off of that, if you roll a ball across this stuff, is there a way to use the textures to?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so to actually have it affect the physics, that goes beyond. But there actually is a notion of a physics material these days. So I've never actually played with that, but it's in everything in Unity. We'll get the physics next week, so we have that to look forward to. Maybe we should. Maybe this will be the year we can play around with physics materials. Yeah, whether something should be like, if it's smooth, it should slip, right? Or if it's rough, it should definitely not slip. And that's the kind of stuff physics material should handle for you. One would hope. We'll see. Maybe. All right. Okay, good. So I've got my texture back where we were. Here we are. I got my thing. What do I want? I want a normal texture for sure. I wouldn't mind having a specular texture. Ambient occlusion, yeah, sure, because of those cracks between the planks. Okay, where can it come from? All right, we don't have an artist to model this and sculpt this. I'm not that crazy. I think that's insane that human beings can actually do that at all. It does not seem normal to me. So what can I offer you? Okay, so what people have developed is something that's also amazing in its own way, and that is software tools that guess what those textures might be from just the normal image, the one that we typically use for the diffuse, i.e. albedo texture. Okay, and that's what we're going to use. In fact, you used to have to pay some money for this, but then there started being some quasi-free versions. Somebody put a thing in GIMP that kind of works pretty good. I've played with it like one time, and now I saw someone has a thing online. So that's exciting. So let's play around with that. So that is, you would have the link for that in the notes. And it would be other textures. All right, here it is. Wow, that's what's up. All right, so I'm going to cut this and paste this in. All right, so this nice person has put up a website that will guess at those textures on its own, and it's not at all terrible, I'd say that much. Let me see. And it's got some things preloaded in it just to kind of demo what it does. You can see over here, I guess this is some kind of height map that's been guessed at. We've got a normal map. This one actually is using the green channel. Huh. That's weird. I haven't seen that before. Maybe it's not going to work. Maybe he's doing something different. And then here he's got some flat texture. Here he's got something that is, again, uses the special textures to kind of mock up the object. Now you see these gaps in the corners of the object? This is the kind of thing that, from my experience, you get when you use displacement or height textures. I really dislike that. Okay? But, not everything's a cube. In some applications it could be just fine. All right? All right, so let's see. How do you... Okay, so there's a load button here for diffuse. Let me go to load. Okay, see this button right here. And then I'm going to just point it at my own texture. Now my texture is kind of huge, so maybe it's going to throw up on me when I try to put this in there. I wouldn't blame them if it does, but let's try. Where did I put it? Off with my Unity stuff. We are in class directory. In class demo, in assets, woodbox. All right, there it is. There's my file. Okay. Let's see if it'll take it. Maybe not.
Yeah, just take the new texture over the old texture, like you said from
Is that what's happening to me? I'm not seeing the new texture at all here. Oh yeah, it is. Look at that. That's weird. I do see the thing there. Okay, that's strange. How do I turn that off?
You have to click on the left cube, on the left four cubes. You have to click every cube individually, and then you can change the texture.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
There you go.
All right. Well, I think if I would have just not turned that on to begin with, I would have been smarter. So let's see. Say load texture again. Oh man. I thought it wouldn't put that up. This is weird. I have used this before, but it's a website, so stuff may be changing, and I'm not going to be told about it. So let's try. Huh. Yeah, I really don't want to just load the text to ooh. Yeah, that's not what I want. Yeah, this is different. What if I go into batch mode? I wonder if it'll be any better. I guess I won't know till I download it what I'm actually going to get. Oh, okay. And now it's letting me download. Okay, I tried the batch mode thing. Let's just see. It's trying to push multiple files down on me. Let's see let's see what I get. And let's go to downloads. Okay. So it generated all this stuff. Let's take a look. We could just look at these by eye, and we'll know if things are bad, probably. I hope it's not going to... Oh, it's got the ring on it. Look at that. Horrible. Yeah, that's new and bad. Oh, now look. See, it looks fine up here. Well, I guess this is a case where you get what you pay for, huh? Actually, let's do this. Yeah, I think we're killing his website too. Is the other thing. Good. All right. Let's I'll try downloading again. Oh man! Now all of a sudden it's spamming me with files here. It still looks bad. All right. There we go. Yeah, look at that. 1 million copies of Specular. Let's see if I'm getting the ring still. No, I'm not. All right. So they've got my files. If I can just persuade them to let me have them. All right. Let me kill everything that I've downloaded so far. It's really not helpful. And let's see what happens. Kind of in computer hell here. Everything's slow between the website and 2 copies of Unity up and Blender, and my poor laptop is on its knees. Oh, look at this. Can't recycle 33 megabytes of data.
Last weekend, changed my life. Hard drive.
Well, I think this is a solid state. This is an early solid state drive. Relatively early. Alright, well, guess I'm just not going to get that to go away. Well, what can I do here? Let's try that again. Now I gotta clear some stuff off this computer. Alright, close everything I can, and we'll hope for the best. All right. Let's see. Now this is, for some reason, it just wants to send down the specular texture. Not really sure. Now let's try all again here.
They're just all manufactured. They have different ones in there.
Oh, do they?
Well, yes.
Yeah, let's see. Let me get a whole new set down and we'll see if it's any better. Alright, well, if that's the problem, we can easily fix it. Alright, so let's take a look. Okay, so this one would be probably ambient occlusion, except it could be mistaken. The height map might look similar. Yeah, one of these is ambient occlusion and one's the height map. I don't know which is which. And this one's still similar too. I'm not seeing the normal map. Here's the normal map. Okay, wood planks. Normal. And this is clearly the normal map too. What's the difference? Alright. Alright, well, at least let's get the normal map in there, because I don't know if I'm going to get the other stuff in or not. We'll just see. It's just more than my computer can deal with this morning. Alright, so let's go to this guy. We've got a material for him. Where is it? Material wood planks. Oh, right. This material kind of came, if you remember, this one kind of came in when I imported the Blender file, and I was surprised by that. Alright, so let's see. Hopefully I can edit it as normal. Okay, I want to come here and go to the normal map setting. Let's see if it'll let me. Yeah, it might not. Yeah, I might have to make a new material. This one that got imported, it's great that it's importing it, but it looks like it's locked from my modifications here. So, is there any way I can unlock it? Let's see that. All right, let's make a new one. Create material. Okay, new wood material. All right, here it is. Let's get our albedo map. That would be this guy. Let's get the normal map in there. Okay, I didn't bring it in yet. Actually, let's bring it in. Got to do assets, import new asset. Got to go to my download directory. Oh, actually, I don't want to move it in my download directory, do I? I want to move it over. So let's copy it and move it over. Alright, there's the normal map thing. Alright. So, does it bring it in? Okay, so it's now, my normal map is now into Unity. Now let's see if I can, it'll let me select it. And should be good. Okay, and now let's take this new material and apply it to the box. And I don't know, is it any better? It's hard to see. I guess the scale of it's going to hurt me here. Oh wow, specularity up the wazoo here. That's not too good. Smoothness. Yeah, looks a little better. Wow, for whatever reason, it's not letting me get my eye close enough. All right. Well, it's there. The normal map's on there, but I'll be darned if I can tell, because I just can't get close enough to see why it's behaving like that. Let me actually go into the, let me actually run the application and see if it's any better. So we can get to the sunny side here and see if it actually looks more 3D. Oh, it actually does. Look at that. Okay, can you tell? Something happened. Okay, now that's just with a normal map. Now I would like to get the other textures in. We'll see if it actually happens. I have to actually look on the site and try to guess which ones are which. So if I say, let's see what the difference is between displacement and ambient occlusion. The ambient occlusion is the brighter one. Okay, I want ambient occlusion, so let's see if I can find the brighter of the two textures. Yeah, this really shouldn't be a guessing game, but you know, what can I do? Okay, I think that's probably it. Okay, so this one, let's get the occlusion in there. Copy. Okay. Now, one of the things about Unity that I don't think I've stressed yet, but this is kind of one of the things you kind of have to learn by painful experience, is that when you change things in the application, if you're in play mode, those changes may not stick. In general, they won't. There actually are a few that will stick. But almost everything will not. And you'll stop playing and you're like, well, what happened? Where are all my changes I just made? You know? Okay, oh, I forgot to go out of play mode. Okay, make sure you're out of play mode when you're changing things. The idea is that they'll let you play around in play mode, but that's just for testing. That's all just throwaway stuff. If you want to see it while it's moving and play with things, they'll let you do that, but they don't assume that you want to save any of that. Once you drop back out, you've got to do it again. Okay, so keep it in mind. All right, so I got my occlusion texture here. Let me go in my new wood material and add in an occlusion map. So here, wood plank, this one must be the occlusion map. Okay. Again, actually, you know what I want to do? Let me see. Where is my FPS controller? I'm gonna move the block so that it's a little more convenient to see when I start up the app. How about that? That would be kind of smart, wouldn't it? Except that wasn't smart. It went underneath the plane. All right, see if that's any better. Let's start it up and see if we get anything out of the occlusion. Oh wow, I don't think I made it much better at all. Still way far away. All right, so what we'd be looking for here is we'd be looking for deeper shadows. Like, look at that big crack right here. If we were to turn that ambient occlusion on and off, we would expect that the cracks, especially the bigger ones that are big, deep, and dark, should be a little more vivid and give you a little better impression that there actually is a crack there. Okay? Well, that's the idea. Okay, now beyond that, specularity is not going to be a very important one for wood anyway, though if you were, these are kind of tiny boards, it could be that some of these knots would actually be glossy, or even if they weren't, because the online tool, we've seen it's certainly at least a little bit flaky. If it guessed badly and you don't agree with the guess, you could take that texture into GIMP, that's why we have it, and go and make it bright, i.e. shiny, where you want it to be bright. Tone it down where you make it more toward gray, toward black. If it's saying something shiny and it shouldn't be shiny. Okay? So it is all under your control at the end of the day. Though, yeah, obviously, the more down in the weeds you go, the more time things are going to take. All right. So we kind of sort of got to where I wanted to get to. That was a little more painful than I thought. I'll maybe mess around with that online tool later, or maybe you guys can give me some tips how to avoid the razor blades on that website. Any questions? Any questions I can handle? No? Okay, so this is the stuff. So we're pretty much done with the stuff you will need for next Friday's turn-in. So I'll put an assignment up shortly so you can see. I'll ask you to do 3D modeling on at least one object. Maybe I'll ask you to drop something in from the asset store, your own thing, not the snowman, something else. I'll ask you to do a thing with a texture that you've painted in Blender. I'll ask you to have one that uses a texture that you just download and process maybe through that website for all its pain. We'll see if we can make it work. Now, I don't expect necessarily multiple. So what you should try to do is at least do some modeling on some object, right? So if you want to be able to show me something there, you want to be able to, but I'll give you flexibility for, if you don't have time to model all of the objects, you want to just download the geometry for one and apply a wood texture to it. That's all right. Just tell me what you've done. And again, if you decide for the modeling, so it's the most impressive if you can model something and UV unwrap it and texture it against it. I mean, that looks the best because it's hardest, because it's a whole series of steps where if you mess up on any one of those, it kind of shows at the end. Okay? If you want to go and use a tutorial, I'll say what I said before, just one more time for emphasis. Be careful. Blender is used at least as much for film as it's used for 3D modeling. Skip ahead in the tutorial if you don't see them UV unwrapping. If you don't see them putting textures on the model, then that should be a warning light to you. That's probably, if you actually go do those steps, it's just going to be wasted effort. You're not going to actually be able to show it in Unity. If they're modeling something and it's for film, but you don't care because it's cool. You just want the 3D geometry, and they're using the same tools we used in class, so that's good. That's fine. Then do that. Then it's your problem to go and put a texture on the thing. You'll have to figure that out yourself. That's okay, but just be aware. I hate people are always surprised. Every year somebody's surprised. So let's try to keep it to a minimum. All right. Okay. So first thing tomorrow, I'll want to see your survival shooter, wherever you've gotten to, and I'll check you off as best I can, and probably the rest of the time will be work time. Okay? All right, good. See you guys tomorrow. Yes, thank you very much. I actually even set an alarm to do it because I've been so terrible at it.